and welcome to another video Bible study by Jesus Christ Prison Ministry. Our topic, Psalm 23. The 23rd Psalm has been a psalm of refuge, a psalm of peace for many people, especially in times of trouble, times of war, times of difficulties. David had been through war and trials and difficulties. He understood what the protection and the power of God can do in the life. So let us read what he has to say in the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd. And we find this same concept in the New Testament. Jesus said, I am the good shepherd. Unfortunately, the churches today have usurped the shepherdhood of Jesus. And people are allowing man-made opinions and man-made wisdom to shepherd them, and unfortunately, it's not to heaven. David had it right. It wasn't the church, it wasn't the temple, it wasn't the priest. They were only secondary shepherds as long as they were teaching and shepherding the people in the direction that God was leading. But as eventually what happened with the Israelites and as what is happening with our churches today, the secondary shepherds are not leading to Jesus but away from him. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not be in want. We need to have faith in Jesus, not in our churches, not in our government, not in our own opinions and abilities. We will not be in want if our faith is in Jesus. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Our lives will be awesome. Now, keep in mind, there's a difference between the awesomeness of what's in our lives and what God can do around us, and the trials and tribulations that the devil through the world will bring against us. We must understand that. Remember Elijah when he ran into the cave, and there was the earthquake and the big winds and big fire, okay? All of that can happen around us. But in the cave he was safe, you see. When we are with Jesus, we're safe from all of that. He leads me beside quiet waters. Our lives can seem a tangle. They can be very like the rapids of a river, upsetting. Well, then follow Jesus away from all of that. Untangle yourself. Give your life to Jesus, and if you are obedient to Jesus, not your church, not your pastor, go to the Bible, listen to Jesus, and be obedient, and watch the peace and the quiet come into your life. He restores my soul, and that he will do. He does that to me all the time. When I start letting the world get in and the problems and the difficulties, I have to stop, go back to Jesus, and he restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness. It is only the chief shepherd, Jesus Christ, and his secondary shepherds, those who follow him, that are leading people to righteousness. If your church, your pastor, your denomination is no longer teaching the teachings of Jesus to stop sinning, to be perfect, and to keep the Ten Commandments for your eternal life, they are no longer guiding you in paths of righteousness. For his name's sake. Oh, how true that is. It's not for ours. We receive the blessings of it, but it's to glorify Him. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. How true that is. The power of God will be on our side if we are following Jesus. If we are listening to His voice, as 2 John tells us, those that do not listen or obey or have the teachings of Jesus to stop sinning, to be perfect, and to keep the Ten Commandments do not have God. And they will not be comforted by God. The devil is putting up a whole lot of fake comforters in the world today to try to keep people from going to the true comforter. But we find out that they don't work. Your rod and your staff. The rod of Jesus is there to help correct us, to help discipline us, to help teach us. The staff to help guide us, move us along. But you know, it's only because we want His rod and staff to guide us, to discipline us, and to teach us, because we want the peace of Jesus in our hearts. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Yes, He does. Every day He prepares a table before me and in the presence of my enemies here at the ministry. Every day in faith I look to Jesus. Every day I'm waiting on Him to touch hearts, to help support us, to provide for us so that we can put out the truth that He wants us to put out. And He will do that. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. In David's day, in the old days, in the Old Testament, the people who were to be anointed king, who were to become king, were anointed with oil. We have become priests and kings of God. He anoints us with oil. Our cup overflows. There is nothing He will not provide for us that will glorify His name and give for His work. All we have to do is glorify Him, not our church, not our pastor, not our denomination, but Jesus Christ, and to do His work. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. How true that is. Heaven begins here. We can dwell in the house of the Lord here. And that's not a church. That's not a denomination. The true church of God is spiritual. As Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. It's not the church buildings. He says, my kingdom dwells within you. It is when we have Jesus in our heart that we don't have to worry about the trials and the troubles and the persecutions and the problems that the world is beginning to experience now. We can trust Jesus. If you live in obedience to Him, to stop sinning, to be perfect, and to keep the Ten Commandments for your eternal life, you will find the peace of heaven in your life. Thank you for being with me and Jesus Christ for another Bible video at Jesus Christ Prison Ministry.